Hello viewers, my name is Chase Clover, and if you're thinking that this is an early review, then you are correct. This is earlier than what I normally do, and that is because I just left the building where USW held its intensity, and I'll be at that building watching the live shows, and I'll be watching the live shows possibly for the rest of their tour, and then I'll be doing these hot foot reviews mostly after I leave the place. And I'm not driving right now. I'm in the car, and I've written down stuff that happened, and so I am going to talk to you and review the intensity. So maybe get used to seeing reviews coming from me earlier and possibly after intensity ends and the pay-per-views end, because that's when I'll be putting out the reviews. So just get used to them being out earlier, because that's what will help. Anyway, let's get started, everyone. My name is Chase Clover, and this is my review on the August 13th, 2014 edition of USW Wednesday Night Intensity. I have this here. Let me just put my pen on it. This intensity lasted a while, had 8 matches on the match card, and it was fairly good. It was telling for some of the rivalries. It kind of gave hype to them, and I'm excited to see what they do with these rivalries. Anyway, we first start out with Seth coming out and talking about how he wants his world title reign to go, and everybody booed him. I even started booing him because I didn't really want him to hold the world title. Yet, now he holds the world title, so we've got to live with that. And the crowd has not warmed up to him in the past few weeks. So that's something that Seth is really going to have to work on if he's going to be world champion. So he talked about how his world championship reign, how he wanted it to go. He said he wanted to hold the title for a while. He wanted to really be a fighting champion, an honorable world champion, someone who deserves the world title spot. And right now he doesn't deserve it. He's too young for all this hype to come out and all these gifts to be handed to him. He's too inexperienced to be a world champion, and I think the fans know that. So booing him heavily is not going to get him anywhere, and I can still feel like USW has some work to do, and they knew that when they started hearing the boos. So don't be surprised if Seth does not warm up to the crowd for a while, if he's the world champion or in the title picture that long. Anyway, he talks about how he wanted to be fighting world champion and whatever. And for the second straight week, considering last week Enigma talked and Derek Carter didn't interrupt him, this week Seth talked and Capital did not interrupt him. So I don't know what that's supposed to mean. I don't know if they're trying to save it. I don't know if these days they want to save it to a scene later on in intensity, but it's very interesting to see how they handle it later on in the show, and it's going to be very interesting seeing what the crowd can do to warm up to Seth. So anyway, afterwards was the first match. I am so surprised that Alex is wrestling. He ended up wrestling against Lane, but Lane defeated Alex. And then afterwards, George Martin hit Alex in the back of the head with a wooden post, then kept hitting him with a wooden post until he walked away after posing with, he was posing in the corner, looking and pointing at Alex and just kind of showing disrespect. And I didn't see much of where he hit him because where I was watching the ring. I was not watching the Titantron, so I did not see those camera cuts. All I could see was him beating him down. It looked like from the back, I don't know. But anyway, that kind of sets up something for their rivalry, which I'm expecting, which the match will be at Capital Carnage. So I think that match is the tables match. I'm not sure, but anyway, there's a tables match on this somewhere. But anyway, Alex has some work to do with his shoulder, seeing if he can get back into the swing of things and get back into this rivalry, because you want someone who can actually hold his part, and if he can hold his part, then you might want to give him a few days off, give him a few days rest. So anyway, after that was an interview with Marshagetta, and he talked about how Western Light and he were trying to go for revenge against Gringo and Fernandez, and how Gringo slipped an easy one over Western Light last week, so he wants revenge and he wants retribution, which I don't blame him, because Fernandez and Gringo are people who use tactics very often. They're heels, so that's what heels normally do. So, I honestly don't know. Hold on. Whatever. Anyway, yeah, this chair in the car is very wobbly. I don't know if it knocked it off the stops or whatever. But anyway, Marshagetta and Western Light are building up the feud pretty well. Fernandez and Gringo, though, are doing a better job holding the feud than Marshagetta and Western Light. So I feel like Fernandez and Gringo could be stars fairly soon, maybe within next year. They could end up holding the blue belt title. They have potential, and I've been seeing it throughout this rivalry. Fernandez has a lot of chemistry with Marshagetta, same goes for Marshagetta and Fernandez. So, expect a fight at Capital Carnage. Expect some blood. They're gonna spill the blood, sweat, and tears in the ring to get to that territory championship, which is not a championship you normally do, but you would normally want to have. But anyway, they want to be champion. They want to crown themselves as champion. They need to be champion in their minds. So good luck with that for them. Afterwards was the second match. It was the number one contenders match for the Extreme Championship. MC4 defeated Titanfall, which I was not expecting. I expected Titanfall to get one over on MC4, and then MC4 attack Crimson Red and Titanfall at the pay-per-view, costing a no contest or something like that. But no, MC4 won. Would I be surprised if Titanfall did that against MC4 and Crimson Red? No, not really. But it's wrestling. You never know who's gonna win. But anyway, afterwards, Crimson Red appeared on the Titantron and told MC4 that they have no clue what he is capable of, which means maybe, we may see a dark side of Crimson Red. That could also turn him heel, and possibly MC4 face, but I don't think you would do that right now. That's not a good idea. But anyway, I'll get into that later on in my Capital Carnage review in 3 weeks. Don't worry if you don't want to wait. You'll probably, throughout the intensity reviews, I'll probably mention more about that, and I'll probably mention a little bit more, a bit newer things throughout the weeks, based on how much hype they're going through. And in the preview and prediction video, you'll really see my full story there, and you'll probably see my reactions as well in the review as well, which will probably be the same night. Anyway, afterwards was an Enigma explanation promo, and it was him explaining why he came back to the fans' side, and he pretty much explained how he knew that when he turned heel and when he became a bad guy, as he said, and the fans started booing him, he wasn't used to it, and he didn't want to get used to it. He wanted to be on the fans' side. He wasn't ready to turn on the fans, and so he did whatever he could to get back on the fans' side, get the fans to forgive him, and he didn't expect it to be easy, and so he did whatever he could to try to get back on the fans' side, which is something that was really interesting, really cool, and very creative. So good job to Enigma for doing that, and really got the fans to cheer for him, because after the promo, you had the fans chanting. Even when I was there during the show, it was loud. They were chanting Enigma, over and over. They also chanted "We forgive you," and I also got involved in the chants. So it was very interesting. I liked it, and he did hold his own in the main event, which I'll get to in a little while. But yeah, Enigma is really holding up this fan base. He's really holding up his fan base, and he's really getting them back on his side, which is something he really wants to do. And I could tell that he really wants to get them back on his side. So, congratulations to him. Afterwards was the third match, and it was Simon Saint beating Philip Akron. Not much to say about that. Then Simon Saint randomly challenged Philip Akron to a singles match at Capital Carnage. That's like an impromptu match. I don't know why they would decide to put these two in a match, maybe to fill up the card, but it's a smart idea to do it now rather than next week or the week after, because now you have 2 weeks to hype up this rivalry. And I think there may have been a few rivalries that were kind of spoiled that could have hype. So I'm really looking forward to this new direction that USW is going to, and I'm kind of looking forward to this rivalry. Philip Akron is very successful. Simon Saint is still learning the ropes, so I think Simon Saint can really learn how to be a main event player from Philip Akron, and Philip Akron has all the abilities to become a main event player. It's just whether USW wants to use him as a main event player or not, because they do have Enigma, Derek Carter, and Capital to hold up the main event picture right now. The other stars, Cannon is in a tag team. Margigeta's going for the worst singles championship. Weston Light is also going with him, and Yo-Yo Joe is pretty much nowhere to be found. He's just having impromptu matches, kind of jobbing a little bit right now. So I'm hoping that Yo-Yo Joe doesn't do that, too often. You also have your up-and-comers. You have Dustin Raymond and Dwayne Porter in a stupid tag team rivalry. You have Alex and George Martin in a very interesting brother versus brother rivalry, similar to the Jeff Hardy-Matt Hardy rivalry in 2009, and I believe in 2001 as well. You have the Extreme Championship picture with MC4, not as much as a rising star, more like an up-and-comer. You have Ash and Anarchy, who are fighting for the Blue Belt title. Prophecy, who is on the verge of becoming a big star in USW, also in a tag team. And then you have Seth in the main event picture, which I don't think he belongs there, so once he loses the world title and possibly loses his rematch clause, then I wouldn't want you to expect Seth to get back in that picture. So, with the talent that they have now, the way that they're using them, I feel like they only should have Enigma, Derek Carter, and Capital in the main event picture, because those three are the ones that are holding up the main event picture and the ones that are holding up the USW rivalries, because all the other stars are in another storyline. So with them being used, they have these three that really need to step it up and get in the main event picture. I know that Alexander Rotten can cash in that key and case briefcase and get in the main event picture at any time. So can Hanasley, but I think Alexander Rotten would work better. So I think Alexander Rotten would be very interesting to have in the main event picture. But yeah, right now, you have Enigma and Capital. I won't count Derek Carter just yet, as much as I would for Enigma and Capital, because Enigma and Capital have been working continuously. But right now you have Enigma and Capital holding up the main event picture, which are two pretty good performers that you would actually want to hold up the main event picture right now. And I remember a few months ago I was talking about how Capital didn't really have too much of a chance against Margigeta. Then he won the world title, then he held it for about 70 days, and then he lost it to Seth, and so expect him to get the world title back. But right now you have Capital, who is rising, holding up the main event picture as one part of it, which is someone you want because he's got a lot of future in the main event picture. And you have Enigma, who is, he's a veteran, Zach Hardy, veteran. He's constantly looking to defend that title backstage. He's always asking Kyle Reese for a championship match. That's someone you want in the main event picture, and that's someone who automatically should be in the main event picture. He is someone that should be the one holding up the main event picture, and he's likely capable of doing that. So, I don't know where I ended with that. I think I was talking about how the matches and about how they were talking about Capital Con. I know. I went somewhere and then I just led myself to somewhere else. But anyway, after getting off that, Simon St. beat Philip Baccarin. And then afterwards, Kyle Reese announced that Enigma will team with Seth and they will face Derek Carter and Capital in the main event. Interesting. Especially with what they did after the main event, which was something very devious and very entertaining to a specific extent. But I'll get into that later on. Afterwards was the fourth match, and it was BP Fierce beating Ash. And then afterwards, Anarchy challenged Ash to a singles match for the Blue Belt title at Capital Carnage. You should have expected that already. And then afterwards, you had an interview with Derek Carter about the main event and about the USW title and his main event status or whatever. He's also someone who could hold up the main event picture if he's here long enough. Which he is, because he's actually fighting on Intensity and not just on pay-per-views, which is good. And so, yeah, he just talked about that. Then the fifth match was Azarine Kills with Benny Franklin in his corner, beating Cannon with Prophecy in his corner. He won cleanly. Benny Franklin did not get involved, which is something that this tag team needed. These two are an up-and-coming tag team, and they are tag team championship worthy. Cannon, as I said, one day he'll break up with Prophecy, he'll break the tag team with Prophecy up, and he'll go back to being that veteran main event picture guy, and Prophecy will get back into he won't get back into it, but he'll become a main event player, which is something Prophecy's kind of starting to turn out to be. Afterwards, Kyle Reese announced Cannon and Prophecy will defend the tag team titles against Azarine Kills and Benny Franklin at Capital Carnage. Should have expected that already as well. After that was the sixth match, and it was Machida with Western Light in his corner, beating Gringo with Fernandez in his corner, which was kind of a review of the past one. Once again, all the managers did not get involved. Everyone won cleanly. That includes Machida. I think Fernandez tried to get involved, but he failed. Anyway, Machida won that match, and then Fernandez hit Machida in the face with the international title belt, and then he hit Western Light with it, and then they started to flee, and then Fernandez and Gringo held the title up. That match is going to happen at Capital Carnage, no matter what. Seventh match was Switchblade with Dwayne Porter in his corner, beating Dustin Raymond with Blade in his corner. That was it. And then I believe they went to a commercial, and they came back with Enigma explaining why he returned to the fans side, and how he did it. And he said, thank you for, coming back with me, and we need to keep the title in our hold and possession. So Enigma is once again officially a face, which is very good. Then afterwards was the eighth match, the main event on the card. Derek Carter and Capital defeated Enigma and Seth. And then afterwards, Derek Carter hit Enigma with a bug zapper, an electric bug zapper, dozens of times, and, yeah. And then he held the title up and posed with it, and then dropped it down. You didn't see Capital and Seth at all after that, or after the match, which was kind of weird. But anyway, that was it. That was pretty much it. Pretty good, intensity, very interesting, hyped up Capital Carnage a bit, did a bit for it, and yeah, all in all, pretty good show. I'd give it maybe 3 or 4 stars, very interesting. So anyway guys, that was my review on the August 13th, 2014 edition of USW Wednesday Night Intensity. Remember to like, favorite, and subscribe for more. I'm Chase Clover, signing off.